Hello YouTube, this is Logan Film Studios with LEGO Transformers Sandstorm. So here is Sandstorm in his vehicle mode. This is supposed to be a futuristic Earth vehicle mode. It's supposed to be kind of like a light car kind of vehicle, but with heavy armoring, because the idea is that it's supposed to be able to get through like the desert with lots of sandstorms, and that's why he's called that. And he's called Sandstorm because he has all these like big plating in the middle, like this big shell in the middle, and then like plating throughout, even though he's a fairly light vehicle. So I feel like he could go very fast and could be very versatile, with like the wheels extending out on like these arm sections, and then they could kind of like articulate a little bit to help it move throughout different terrains. But it's still very armored and can take a hit. This gun on the top can move up and down here, and it's got a bunch of joints for it to be able to move in different ways. And this is actually his robot mode weapon. So you can take this off. On the bottom, you can still see how this middle section is like a big shell. And then that's theoretically where a person would sit, in the middle of there. And this is a part that I really like. The bottoms of the wheels have like these golden parts in addition to the tan parts. So they kind of represent like tracks and how the wheels are kind of like dirty. So they're not actually supposed to be gold as in like shiny gold, but gold as in kind of just a different shade of tan. And unfortunately the wheels don't roll, but that's kind of important for the robot mode, and so I can get the cool detail in there. So once again, to transform this guy, you're going to want to take the gun section off of the back. It just pegs in on this stud right here. And then the rest of it is pretty simple, because this is actually a pretty old Transformer. I made this around the time that I made the original mini-bots on my channel, like Sarge and Quick and all those guys. And it has since been updated a little bit, but not really that much. So we're going to start by unfolding the legs here, sliding the feet over and folding them up like that. Then you're going to slide this plate down and rotate the whole waist section around, and then we're gonna bring this down on the hinge and slide the plate back up. Next, we're basically going to open up the whole shell section. So we'll get these out of the way. We'll open up this whole middle section, bring this section out, kind of wiggle it out a little bit on that robot hand. And we're going to wiggle out these sections, which are on these double joints, the stud friction here, and then a clip attached to the bottom piece. We're going to wiggle them out and make sure that they line up. So now the clip part is basically 90 degrees from where it was before. We will rotate this part, which is the head, and bring it back, and then rotate these back on the hinge attached to the back shell part, not attached to through stud friction. And then you want to make sure that the back of this dark tan shell part lines up flush with this section, like that. And then we're going to bring this whole section forward and around and fold up the whole shell area again, and kind of just condense everything. And now we can basically work on the arms. which are fairly simple. You just want to unfold them and rotate that cheese slope. Do that on this side. And bring out the head a little bit more, get it situated. And there's Sandstorm in his robot mode. Now transforming the weapon is fairly simple. You just want to bring out this handle, fold all of this in like that, and there you go. And then that can just peg in with the handle into his hand like that. So Sandstorm's robot mode is kind of like the vehicle mode in aesthetics, where it's supposed to look like he's fairly like articulate and fairly acrobatic, yet still very armored and basically can take a hit. He still has that big like shell section kind of inspired by like a beetle or something that you would see in a desert like this. Except now you've got like arms and legs and the head coming out. Taking a closer look on the head, I really like how he has these green eyes and like this triangle section on the back, once again trying to be like armor. And you can see some more detail around the shell area. He's got like these cool little shoulder spikes, which don't really look that good in vehicle mode. That area looks kind of messy, but I think it's worth it for robot mode. It's a neat little detail, I think. I like how the wheels end up on his arms and legs, and that's why they couldn't roll, because they actually end up being like part of his arms and legs. So they needed to be pretty solid, or else it would be very difficult to actually pose or stand or anything. These triangle bits on the legs are kind of weird because they kind of like go out and back in. But they're not too bad. They're more like armor pieces, I guess. And the feet look really nice where they are, like under the wheels. I really like how the feet came out. For articulation, Sandstorm has an up and down movement at the head and side to side 360 degrees. He's got forward and back movement on the arms and in and out, and a full elbow bend, which is really nice. He sort of has a waist rotation, but you can't really do it too much because it breaks up where this tile is with this clip part. It's supposed to be flush, and if you do it too much, it'll break the tile off. He's got in and out on the legs, forward and back, and a full knee bend due to transformation. And then he has this cool little foot joint. So yeah, he's actually pretty articulated for a simple little guy. For size comparisons, here is Sandstorm next to Shade, so you can see how they look together. And here he is next to a normal minifigure. And here's what they look like in their vehicle modes next to a minifigure. That's about it for LEGO Transformers Sandstorm. Make sure to check out his backstory in the video description below, as well as my other LEGO Transformer backstories in their video descriptions. And I'll see you guys next time with my next LEGO Transformer.